Catch GurlTauX every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GurlTauX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams, scrolling through your daily memes. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen, click subscribe, don't be me. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's GurlTauX, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere GurlTauX can be seen. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about. GurlTauX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. GurlTauX show is here to stay. GurlTauX show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what GurlTauX is all about.
Well, hello. It is a Tuesday, and I'm here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, so to speak. Well, one of the things that I comprehended yesterday when doing my show is that I have been AWOL for 3 weeks. So for those of you who have not been here before, perhaps I should have introduced myself yesterday and said who the F I am and why I even do this show. So, who I am. My name's Tori. Some know me as Victoria with a K. Viktoria, Victoria. But my name's Tori, and I used to have MAGA One Radio and MAGA Network. I still have them, but I don't really do much with them, although I probably should. I was all about politics, and that's the only thing that I really did a lot of stuff on. And prior to any of the issues with my best friend Kristen that many of you have heard about, her and I had conjured up doing a show together called TK Talks, and then it turned into GurlTauX, that kind of thing. So I'm keeping that going, and I decided that it was much more prudent of me to do it more about mental health, my own personal triumphs, tribulations, struggles, and how to relate to other people, and not just about politics. Now, I still talk about politics when I feel like it is something that I want to discuss or I want to talk about. I do not want to. I don't want to turn it into a political show, but yes, I still talk about politics when the mood strikes, so to speak, if I'm feeling like it and I want to talk about politics, something that's got under my craw or that is just seems like something we should talk about on a more of a layman's method. Now, I am a former journalist. Uh, um, I got my degree in journalism quite a long time ago. I did work in the field as a reporter, and I stepped away from that because I saw the writing on the wall. It was getting way too liberal at the where I worked, and it was really hard to navigate any of that being a conservative. I am a Trump supporter. Sometimes you'll see me wear my Trump hats. And I'm a mom of 3 boys, and I have 4 bonus kids. Um, and let me turn my ringer off because that is obnoxious when I am trying. Where's they just changed everything on these phones. So it can be quite obnoxious where you can find the volume to mute it, completely mute it. Now it is muted. Okay. So then we won't hear that buzz, 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 buzz. So like I said, I'm a mom of 3 boys, and all 3 of them are married and have children, uh, either 1 or 3. And I have 4 bonus children as well, and a couple grandchildren there as well. And 2 of my sons are Marines. I have a Marine mom bracelet on, but I'm very proud of my kids. They've done a great job. Despite my failings, they've done a great job, and I am very proud of them. I'm also a wife of a Marine and a aunt of a Marine, a sister of a Marine. You get it. Like, the Marines have just infiltrated our family, that's for sure. So, and I'm a journalist, like I said, but I was also a paramedic. I was also in law enforcement. And so I really just call myself my own village people because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up. And some days I'm still trying to figure that one out. So I got a glass of wine. It's 5:00 somewhere. So grab yourself a glass of wine if that is your fancy, or a cup of coffee, or a soda, or whatever it is that you'd like to drink. Water's really healthy. um, but it has been a triumph of sorts. That is why I decided to do this as a 3-part series for my trip out west. Whether you like it or you think, why do we care? There's a lot of things that I'm going to discuss and talk about and reflect on during this 5,000-mile trip that I did. So hopefully I can relate to some of you, many of you, all of you. I don't know. I would hope that I can relate to somebody out there that's watching that might need to make some kind of major challenge for themselves. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and do a 5,000-mile road trip, but maybe there's something that you have wanted to do, but you've been too afraid to do it. You don't think you can do it. And I will tell you, if I annoy you in any way, shape, or form, there is a fly that is flying around here that is driving me a little bit batty. And so far, I have not been, but he's just won't go away. He won't leave me alone. And he's driving me a bit nuts. I wish I had a fly swatter down here. I'd be going after him. So hopefully I can ignore Mr. Fly, or hopefully not drink him either. My wine is a very tasty wine, and he might try to go after it. So anyway, I have medical issues that affect me. I try not to talk about it a lot. Walking, doing that long of a journey in a car can be very exhausting on your body, especially if you have a difficult time walking and sitting for that length of time. I will tell you, by the time I got home, my ankles were the same size as my thighs, or at least my knee. It looked like my ankle swallowed a cantaloupe. And they were extremely painful. It was very hard to walk at the end there. But the whole point is that I was able to go over and do so many of these things on my own. And I also went and hit a few places that were kind of nostalgic for me. So, what about you? What's good? What's good for you out there, sisters of Girl Talk? I hope you've joined our tribe. If you haven't, please hit that like button and subscribe and the bell for notifications. It's 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's what time our show is, Monday through Friday. And like I said, pour yourself some vino or whatever it is you'd like. But we're tearing down the PCH this segment of our trip. It's Highway 1 in California, if you aren't familiar with it. It's the Coastal Highway. Pacific Coastal Highway is what they call it, PCH. And it spans from Washington State all the way down through Oregon, through California. It's a beautiful drive. You can see the coast. I will show some pictures. But it is absolutely gorgeous. It is so breathtaking, and when you're driving that drive, it can be exhilarating, and I made a point to stop at wherever beach that called to me and collect sand. Some of them were specific places that I had been, so I wanted to collect sand from places that I had been, and some were places I'd never been and always maybe wanted to go. So I did collect 19 beaches across and 20 in total. The first one was in Lake Tahoe. So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to Lake Tahoe. My first part of this journey we talked about yesterday, was to Lake Tahoe. But what I really only talked about was the event itself, but there was some other aspects of it. We had a Airbnb. 5 of us shared it, which turned out to be beautiful. One of the nights we made a homemade spaghetti dinner. I cooked my amazing spaghetti. It's great. It's a lot of work to make, but it is really great. Artichoke hearts, zucchini, squash, hamburger meat, sauce that I make mixing things together, onions and garlic and all that stuff. And it was so funny because I stopped and got some olive stuffed artichoke or garlic stuffed olives. And when I was getting the artichoke hearts, and turned out when I started cooking, I did not have garlic. So I stole them out of the olives and I sliced those up so that I had some garlic and some French bread. And I also made some bruschetta bread, where you put the bruschetta on top of the bread, not prosciutto, to be mistaken. So we had a really good time. We also had one night that we went out to dinner. That was the night we were gonna cook the spaghetti, and we ended up saying, this is too much. It was Friday after we had gone to put Kristen in Emerald Bay, and it was just too much. So we decided we were gonna go out to dinner. And then, of course, I texted her brother, whom I'm good friends with as well, Jason, and said, do you guys want to meet us? So him and his girlfriend met us, and a couple other of the family met us as well. We had a great dinner. We did choose to go to an Italian restaurant because everybody was kind of craving the spaghetti. But it was really nice because we spent some very quality time. And something that really was talked about the entire weekend is connection, having connection, making connections. And one of the things that was also said by one of Kristen's friends, I'm friends with him as well. I've known him for a short time, but I was introduced by Kristen with him. And when we went to leave and we were packing up from the Airbnb, he said, he didn't say it to me. He said it, I think, to our other friend, Eric. He said, I have a feeling this will be the last time I see everybody or the last time I hear from anybody. And it made me really sad, but it also made you think that she was the glue that kept people connected. She planned events, she planned family reunions, she planned things, she got people together, matching shirts, matching hats. She always wanted to have something fun like that. But part of that issue was she didn't like being alone, so she loved planning things and getting people together and connecting people. So I am vowing to make an effort to make sure to stay connected to those people that I met for the first time, others that I only knew mainly through Kristen or because of Kristen, but we weren't real close and we didn't have that major connection. And but I want to continue that connection because it's because of her that we all were connected, and I don't want to lose that because she's gone. So, like I said, I collected 20 jars of sand. Now, when I started, I had a couple water bottles and a paper cup. So I will have to say Half Moon Bay, I got like this much sand because I only had a small paper cup and I didn't realize how small it was. So when I poured it into the jar, the next morning I went out to a dollar store and I bought 20 jars. And when I poured that one into its jar, I was like, whoa, I ended up with like this much. And it's really rocky. So I ended up with not so much sand from Half Moon Bay, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll move on, and that one I would probably use very little in anything anyway because it is very rocky. And as I went to each of these beaches, there was challenges that I had to face, and I had to face some fears. Now I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit back to my past, career-wise. When I was in the military, I loved rappelling. And when I was search and rescue, I was a high-angle rescue. And not too long ago, Steve and I were moving a desk from the house over to the shop. And I was climbing up onto the back of the truck to hold the desk while he drove across the property to the shop. And I started to lose the desk, and the desk went flying off. I couldn't stop it. And we were able to get it back on, or he was able to get it back on. But it has something to do with aging, of course, but I have physical limitations. And just going to jump off the back end of a truck. Now, I've gone outside of a helicopter to take photos. I have flown gazillion times with the doors open. I'm not afraid of heights in any way, shape, or form. But I'm afraid of getting hurt now. I'm afraid of jumping and hurting my legs or my ankles or my feet or whatever, and the pain that I have when landing, even 2-4 feet. So I literally got shaky and was nearly in tears just getting off the back of the pickup truck. My husband had to help me. That was a very emotional time for me because I'm the girl who would strap on a harness and go off of a 300-foot rock. I have all my climbing gear in the shop now. It's old enough that I wouldn't use it for that. But it really, really hits you hard when you realize the things you once used to do. I used to say all the time, I used to could, and I might could again, but I have to realize now there's certain might coulds I will never do again. I will never be able to surf again. I will never be able to skateboard again. I probably will never be able to ski again. And those are some of the things I did as a young person. And going back to some of these places and seeing the surf and the surfers out there, it does give you that nostalgia, but it also, you have to take into account your own capabilities. And just like I said yesterday, I was slightly jealous when Donna and her Kristen's daughter jumped off the boat into the lake. 35, 40 degrees. It wasn't the cold that was scared me. It was the trying to climb out. I knew that I would have a very difficult time, and the cold can affect your physical abilities. So I didn't do it because I knew that I could then become a possible problem. I could become a what would be a good way to put it? I could become a victim. I could become a hazard. I could become something that ended up needing to be rescued, and I did not want to be something that needed to be rescued. So I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't want to do that. But then taking on this challenge to do this road trip and saying, I'm going to go to these beaches. Some of them I had to hike down. Some of them, like Half Moon Bay, where I happened to stop, was quite a bit of a hike, and it was a cliff, and it was down. And I did it. Each and every one. Some of them were harder than others. Pismo Beach. Oh my God, I totally forgot Pismo Beach. Like, the whole dang thing is on a cliff. But I climbed those stairs. I mean, a lot of them have stairs. There was only one part where I stopped and I went and looked, and you had to like try to traverse down the cliff, and it has danger signs everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that one. Of course, I left my dog because I didn't want any issues of her getting hurt at any of these high places. But what it told me is that I have the ability to face my fears and be able to navigate the challenges and overcome those challenges, making me feel more successful, and knowing that that means when I get home, because this was a soul-searching journey, and it was a journey of forgiveness and grace and discovery and renewal for myself. And I found that I can do much more than I think I can if I just put my mind to it. Now, I am going to be on a new path of trying to lose some weight. Now, that has been very, very hard because of my autoimmune. Makes it very difficult for me to lose weight. It's not my diet. I eat actually quite healthy. I don't like a lot of junk foods. I don't like, I took a whole bucket of red licorice with me on my trip, and I had like maybe 2 pieces the whole trip. I don't really like a lot of stuff, and I don't like ice cream. I'm not a huge pizza person. I primarily eat chicken and vegetables. I eat very little red meat. I don't eat pork at all. And this is not me trying to say I'm all that, because I'm not. I'm well overweight, and I want to get healthier because I'm 54, and if I don't do something now, I know that it's going to cause bigger problems down the road. And if you face those problems, come on this journey with me, because I'm not gonna do a daily diatribe of what I ate that day and what exercise I did, but I am going to keep a journey of this plan that I have, and working towards it, and hopefully reaching a goal within a lot longer time than probably it would have taken me in the past, but I'm still willing to take this challenge on. So like I said, I collected those 19 jars of sand across the way, and I did find magic in some strangers. This is my soul on the road with my service dog, Charlie, riding shotgun. Well, I mean, she rides back on the bed, comfortably back on the bed, shotgun. So let's do this. Let's get to this next segment and talk about what we have accomplished. Please smash that like button, and you can tag hashtag GurlTauX on X or any of your social media platforms. So when I get to the final tomorrow's going to be like a bigger overcap, and I will have much more pictures on that part of my journey. But let's see. I left my sons at 8, 9 o'clock. I went over this just a little bit yesterday. And I went over the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's been a bridge I've gone over a gazillion times. And I stopped at Presidio, right on the other side. I stopped at several places. I took some pictures with Charlie. And I made my way across, stopping at Moss Beach Distillery, which was super funny because I thought it was an actual distillery. I was going to grab my husband a bottle of something. It was a restaurant. Really good restaurant. I did get some beer battered artichoke hearts. Half Moon Bay, Cliffs, Pompano State Beach, Pigeon Point Lighthouse. I missed the mystery spot. I wish I would have done that one. And there's a ghost town I would have liked to have gone to. But I had a plan. I was wanting to get into Capitola by 4 p.m. because I had reservations at this restaurant called Shadowbrook Diner. It's not a diner. I don't know why I have it listed as a diner, but it's Shadowbrook Restaurant. It's a fine dining restaurant. They have a dress code. In fact, I had to take off. I had this hat, even though it's rhinestones. And this hat, by the way, is a quote from Dolly Parton. It says, "I never let a rhinestone go unturned." Dolly Parton. And I had to go put my hat back in the car. And it was really cute because I love hats. I absolutely love hats. I got several hats when I was at Kristen's visiting her. Every time I visited her, she would give me one or two of her hats. So I've got quite a few of Kristen's hats. And I had to go exchange it for a hat that was not a baseball cap because that was one of their dress code violations, is if you have a baseball cap, they don't let you in. So I had no choice but to make sure not to have those. And I didn't. I was smart enough to not have that hat on. And it is a little restaurant in Capitola. My dad took me there when I was a kid. I've been there with my mom and my dad. And it was a haunt of his because it was built in 1947. My dad was like 12 or 13. He's from Santa Cruz. And back when I was a kid even, there wasn't much around it. It's right on the river. You can sit on the river side. But you ride a little gondola, a little small gondola. I'm looking for the pictures right now as we speak to send them so that I have a few pictures to show of this restaurant because it is really cool. Uh, and it was a nostalgia thing for me going here because I had been here with my dad. My dad's been gone since 2018, and I know that it was something new that I hadn't done in a very long time. I think the last time I probably was there was when my dad was around. And the restaurant has a tree growing through it. It is just the cutest place, and I've never forgotten it. It's always been a memory for me. It's always been a place that reminds me of my parents, reminds me of my dad, especially because my dad is from there. And him having so many places in California because he grew up in California his whole life. And he was my hero. And one of my heroes, I have to say, because my mom is my other hero. And he took me to some of these coolest places. One of the other really cool places I wanted to go, but I did not go, was I wanted to go to this little hole in the wall on the side of the road place that sells hot dogs. There are amazing hot dogs there in Santa Cruz. But by the time I got done getting there, getting that, going back to, I was already full, so there would be no point in doing so because I would have ended up with with food I could not eat in any way, shape, or form. So I certainly did not want to do such a thing. So I was able to make reservations. Now, when I pulled it up, it said the reservations were like 6 weeks out. And I was like, "Oh man, I won't be able to go." Well, I could just go and take pictures. Maybe they would let me ride down and ride back up. So I went on to their website and pulled it up, and I was just a party of one, and I was able to make a reservation. And it was really, really fun to do that when it had been such a long time seeing this place. And let me share some pictures with you so you can see for yourself as well. All right. So this is the entry door to the gondola. And the picture here was meant because there's a dress code. And that's the lighthouse I went to. That is from the window. And I don't know why some of these are out of order, but there's the lighthouse again. Back to Shadowbrook Restaurant. So that green building down there is the restaurant. That is the bathroom. That is going into the bathroom. Now remember, this was built in 1947. So that is inside the ladies' room. And that's the door into the ladies' room. It's such a beautiful place. Yeah, I'm sorry, these are out of order. And that's the staircase up. So generally you're supposed to ride the gondola down, the little thing down, but you're not supposed to ride it back up. You're supposed to walk up the stairs, but obviously I'm with my service dog, so they let me ride back up. I got a little lemon drop drink, and I got filet mignon, and I got artichoke soup. It was really good. That is the tree that actually grows right through the building. And that is Charlotte and I riding back up with this wonderful gentleman. We had a great chat and really nice guy. And I got to see this place that had such memories for me as a kid, and if my brother sees this, he'll be like, "Yeah, I remember that as well." You can see the little, um, rail going up, and that's riding down to the restaurant. What a beautiful sight it was, I will tell you. I'm trying to find so for some reason, my pictures just did not, uh translate over in order. So there's a little gondola riding up and down that I took a few pictures of. It was so cute. And when I was a kid, of course, I do remember it seemed bigger than that, but it was not bigger than that. Um, but it was really fun. Look at Charlotte. Charlotte is just so enthralled in what is happening. Now, I realize now why it is out of sync, out of order, because it's when they auto download onto my phone. This is all video and pictures from my glasses. I take, you see me with them all the time, my black glasses. They're the Ray-Ban Metas, so they're smart glasses. So it takes the video and pictures that I want to take. So that actual video is of me and Charlotte getting out of the little gondola at that restaurant. I would love to take my husband there one day. I will eventually take my husband there one day. Again, there's the dress code and there is the restaurant down below. Such a really cute place. If you ever get a chance to go there, it has been there since 1947, and I would imagine it's going to be there for quite some time. It I don't think it's gonna be going anywhere. One of the other really cool things is if you're staying at a hotel in the area, they have these antique cars and antique taxis that will come and pick you up from your hotel and bring you to they are Shadow Brook's actual uh cars. So they will come and get you, bring you there, and only if you've done that or you have a disability can you ride the gondola back up. Otherwise, uh you have to actually uh just walk back up is what they want you to do. So there was a lot of really cool things about going on this trip and being able to see this nostalgic place that I had been when I was a kid, and a place that my brother's been. It was a really great time, and I have not been there in a very long time, so it was really neat. It was really nostalgic for me. So, again, here is right after we got off of the San Francisco bridge. We drove into Presidio, and I took my dog for a walk through the area. Has a little bit about the guardians of the gate, and we took a picture right there over the top of the bay, and you can see the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge behind me. I could not wear my hat because my hat kept flying off of my head. There's my Miss Charlotte doing such a good job staying for mommy so I could take pictures of her with the Golden Gate in the background. Such a sport. She's used to taking pictures with me, and she tends to I think she likes it because she poses. As soon as I say we're taking pictures, she stops and poses. So I would imagine that she must like it, or she would not be taking the pictures for me as well as she does. Now, this picture here is of Pismo Beach. This was the third location that I went trying to get down to Pismo Beach. And those stairs, that is the final part of the stairs. You have to go a whole 2 or 3 more sets of those. Wow, that was a journey. It was really a journey for me to make that trek up those stairs and through the stairs. But I will tell you some of these views that I had on my journey, and it makes you think, it makes you look at yourself. It makes you evaluate things. It really was a journey. It was a soul-searching journey for me. Now I particularly do like artichokes. My husband's not such a fan, but I stopped at one of these little side, uh, little fruit stands, vegetable stands, and these are medallion. They're only, like, maybe 2 inches big. I did not buy them. I bought some bigger ones, and as soon as I got back, I had 9, and I cooked them all and put some in bags for the freezer for my mom and I. So, it was something that I had promised my mom I would do, and, my mom really wanted me to, bring some artichokes back, some fresh artichokes from Castroville. So I did. I brought them back, and as soon as I got back, I had to cook them right up. That is going down you can see the cliffside there that goes down to Pismo Beach. But, I cooked them immediately as soon as I got home, otherwise they would not have survived much longer. I did have some, other, videos and pictures that I took on my journey that, I will go over more tomorrow. I will make sure some of these are in the right order instead of, random pictures like I'm doing right now. But this is what the sand jars look like that I collected. And I will show you at the end here the whole slew of them there. And, that is what I collected along the way. Now, that was after, of course, after, several different places that I had been where I collected the sand. And, yesterday I was asked about, going on these trips alone, and I generally sleep in my car. But where I went to go possibly stop in my car, I decided I didn't like the area. I was gonna go to a motel, and, where I was at that time, the place looked really shady. I was not staying anywhere there. So I went to the next town over. And so Charlotte and I went and stayed at a hotel one night, and she was so happy to get out of the car and have her duck to play with and, play on the bed, and she was super excited about that and getting her vest off. Now, her vest is not on when she's in the back sleeping and resting, but it is on anytime we get in and out of the car. Sometimes we're getting in and out so often that I did leave it on her for some time. But she really, really enjoys these road trips with me because as soon as we get going, she jumps right in the car. So she does not have any problem going on these trips with me. Um, and when I went to Dollar Store and I bought the jars, I also bought, these little white tags and a container of rubber bands. So as I am collecting this sand, I was putting where it was located, what date I did it. I should have put the time because then I would have known the order. I'm pretty sure I have the order right, but I would have known exactly, the order in which I collected the sand. This beach had some of the coolest pebbles on it. So I went way out here to get the pebbles because it was a lot more than just sand. Had some really great pebbles. It's called Moonstone is what was at this beach. Um, but it was such a great journey, and it was so healing for myself, but it was also it was invigorating. It was reflective. It was a time for me to look at myself and looking at the reflection and how the PCH beauty and going across the Bixby Bridge, which is 714 feet span, and it was built in 1930 or 1942, I think. But doing this, did it ease my grief? I'm sure there's a lot of people that would ask that, and yes, it did. It definitely did. It allowed me to let her go in the aspect of not being so sad, and being able to enjoy and reminisce and have peace, and let her have peace as well. And she loved nature, absolutely loved nature and animals and all this stuff. So a little information about Highway 1. It spans 656 miles. And I'm not sure if that's just the California side of it, but it was really, really cool to be able to do that part of this journey with my wonderful service dog and with myself. Being able to share with myself what I was able to accomplish, and being able to accomplish that without feeling like I couldn't do it, because there was a part of me at the beginning where I did think, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I am able to actually do this. And what it showed me and what it let me know is that you don't have to be fearful. You just have to try. And I did decide to try. I decided to just go ahead and put my fears aside and just do something that was outside of myself. Now, the road tripping's not outside of myself, but I haven't been on a lone road trip very far, more than going to Florida, in a very long time because of my physical limitations now. And I had fear that I could no longer do these road trips like I love to do. And this taught me that, yes, I can. I can still do it. So, does anybody know what time it is? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It is that time. It is that time. And I don't know if this hat's going to work or not, but I did change my hat to see if I could see a little bit better when doing this segment. But it is Dear Margaret time. And if you are not familiar what Dear Margaret is my take on Dear Abby. And what I do is I take your questions, your comments, and I got some comments, thank goodness, yesterday. From these were actual questions. They weren't Dear Margaret questions that I used yesterday. They were questions that other people had just sent me along the road. But if you email Dear Marge, DEARMARG at GurlTauX, GurlTauX, I will put your questions up, and I ask them with an honest, open answer. The reason why it's called Dear Margaret instead of Dear Tori is because I took it from when J.D. Vance was at his interview, and Margaret was telling him, well, there was only a few gang members that were, taking over apartment complexes. And he said, I don't really care, Margaret. And it stuck with me. I really liked it. So I can call this Dear Margaret. So let's get to our segment. And again, if you have questions, email them to us. We will, or put them in your comments. And we will, if you comment during the live show, I will include it. Hello. Wrong one. All
Dear Margaret's here, let's dive right in. Bring your questions, let's begin. Life's a real maze. We'll help you with your coping. Dealing with life in this rat race. Honest thoughts, no sugarcoating.
Tell us your tales, your woes, your gripes. No fluff, no bows, just real life types. Sign it clever, let your pen take flight. We'll serve the truth, sharp and bright.
Send us a query, take a lead. No hidden rules, no secrets to keep. Anonymous wisdom that cuts so deep. Dear Margaret's advice you'll want to reap. But in the end, let's admit we all really don't care, Margaret.
Okay, I do try to wear a different hat just because it's kind of corny and goofy and it's Dear Margaret, but this hat is proving to be a bit of a challenge. That's why it hangs on my wall instead of on my head. Anyway, McHoozle, let's get to it. So, our first one. Now, I am going to say to start with, Dear Margaret's back, thank God, because I've been gone for 3 weeks, and this is day 2. But I'm back, and you've been asking me while I was on the road how I handled the road solo. So let's talk stops and strangers. Dear Margaret, where do you sleep on a solo road trip? Campsites or hotels? Restless roamer. Well, I mix that up. What I do is most of the time it's rest stops. Occasionally, if I have to stay at a gas station, it is a Love gas station because they have a dog run, they have bathrooms, they have showers, and they are really clean and they're really nice, and it's a great place to stop. When I was in going on the PCH, that's Highway 1. There's not really any rest stops along that route. So you have to find what's best. So in situations like that, I do campsites. A lot of these beaches have campgrounds. So I go to a campsite and I pay for a camp spot, and Charlotte and I just go and camp at a campground. And they have showers, stuff like that. And Sunset Beach was one of the places that I stopped. And oh my God, it was such a great place. If you want to book your campgrounds ahead of time, you can go to recreation.gov for state campgrounds or federal campgrounds, depending on what they are. And picking spots with good views, lighting. I don't care for the lighting part of it. That doesn't bother me. I put eye covers on, so if there's a lot of light, it doesn't bother me. If there's no light, I prefer being in a secluded, like where I feel like I have more, like I like to be by a tree, because honestly, if you're too close to the tree, you can hear them trying to get closer to your car. Sometimes I even I'll take a bucket of rocks and I'll sprinkle it around my car, because a lot of people don't pay attention to what's around when they're sneaking up onto somebody, and that will make gravel sound on the ground, and my dog will be alerted to it. I will be alerted to it. I am a light sleeper. Even with my headphones on with music, I can still hear through them. I don't always use Expedia for deals, but I do try to use either Expedia or one of those, things for a quick. And I like to find ones that are last minute that have a deal, because most of the hotels were about $170 a night where I was at. And I got one for like $74 total with tax and everything. And that's because it was late. So they're probably not going to rent that room out anymore. And you'll find deals on some of those. Charlie, of course, sleeps in the car with me. best security system ever. And as I discussed yesterday, I always have my firearm with me in case I need it. Never had to use it, but in case you need it, you never, never know. So I have to say that it does not feel risky. I guess for some people they might think it's risky. Cautious cruiser is the next one. But I don't feel that it's hard to take these trips, and I like to roam. And I think part of the reason I like doing these road trips too is because I grew up moving around a lot. And I get restless after a couple of years at one place and I'm ready to move. Well, we're in our forever house. I don't ever plan on selling our house. I don't ever plan on leaving our house. And well, I tell you what, I couldn't wear this for a night out. But so I get restless. So this helps with my restlessness where I don't actually have to move. I can just travel and go see some things if I need to. And my husband loves to travel too. So it is something that we will be doing more of when he retires, and some while he's not retired because he does get vacation time. So it will be really nice to be able to do a lot of this with him once he does retire, because most of it I end up doing it by myself. So on to question number 2. Number 2, let's go. Why is it going? I want it to this part of the question. It's not going where I want it to. So give it just a second while it catches up to me. All right. Blah, 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 blah. This takes forever. Let's move on. Let's move on. That's because I didn't put it in the right spot, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Next question. Let's get to the next question. Dear Margaret, do you talk to strangers on trips? Isn't that risky? Cautious cruiser. Well, my mom will tell you. I've never met a stranger. So it's not about just being on a road trip. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Get a tissue real quick. It's not really about road tripping, talking to strangers, because I talk to strangers in a grocery store. I talk to strangers anywhere, anytime. I've never met a stranger. That was something that Chris and I both had a lot in common because we talk to everybody. Yeah. We'd be best friends by the end of the grocery store line, and I'm going to their wedding or she's going to their dinner, and that's just how she was. And I would say KK kind of taught me that, but not really. My dad did. My dad was that way. My dad never met a stranger. So hell yeah, I talk to strangers. You meet some of the greatest people out on the road. And when you're on the road and you're traveling to places that are new and different, there might be travelers from all over the place. So when I was at Sunset Beach, I met Sharon and Nick. They're from the Netherlands. And I have to say, it was the sweetest thing ever because I've been to Sunset Beach several times in my life. Never at sunset. Never made it there at sunset. Like, always there too early and then never paid attention to get back over to the beach to watch the sunset. Too young to care about watching a sunset. Over at the campground setting up, and then you're like, oh crap, sunset already happened. And so I'd never been to Sunset Beach at sunset, and I also camped there. So I went over to where it was up high, like you could go down to the beach side, But there was also this other spot that was up high, and you could take pictures from it. In fact, I probably have one here if I could find it. But I was able to take video. I took a time lapse video of the sunset, and it was really, really beautiful, really pretty, and it was so neat because I set my phone up on the edge and I let it just play, and I let it just do its thing and videotape and take and I did it in a hyperlapse so I could just let it record the sunset as it went. And I let that go, and I was sitting there and I fed Charlotte, put food in her bowl, and even Charlotte and I got a little bit taken aback because we didn't know somebody was there. And Charlotte got startled, and they came walking up, and they went and sat on the bench in front of me. And my phone was recording, and they were sitting there and they were watching it. And it was so sweet because I don't know, maybe she could just sense that something was wrong. Maybe she could just sense that something was bothering me. So, um, she said, "Oh, are you videotaping?" I said, "Yeah, I have it on hyper." She said, "Oh, that's what I thought you were doing. That's so cool that that's what you were doing." And I said, "Yeah, it's really neat because I can just set this up here and it will just continue to record the sunset the entire time so that I get the whole time lapse of the sun." And it was really neat because of the fact that they were sitting there, and she knew that there was something emotional going on, I guess. And she asked, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Well, I'm just, it's kind of, this is kind of an emotional moment because, and I told her what had happened. And she was so sweet. She says, "Well, would you like to come and sit with us?" And I said, "Well, yes, thank you, I would." So I went and sat with them. And I'm trying to do this entire 3 series without crying, okay? So I'm gonna pause when I need to pause. But she said to me, "Do you mind if I touch you?" And I said, "Sure." And so she put her arm around me and around my shoulder, and she squeezed, and she gave me a hug, and I put my arm around her and I hugged her back. But she sat there for the longest time, just holding me as if she knew that that's what I needed at that moment. And it was one of the kindest, sweetest things that someone has done that does not know me, does not understand what I'm personally going through. I mean, they could have gone through something like that themselves. I don't know. But what I was going through at that very moment, and, you know, we've all said it, I think, in the past when we've had someone that we've lost. "Oh man, I would love to have called her and shared this with her." Well, that is something I absolutely would have done with her if she were there. I would have called her and I would have said, "Hey, I met these great people. You won't believe what a beautiful day it was. And, she was my 2 a.m. call, my 1 a.m. call, my anytime call. So, yeah, I probably would have called her to share this moment with her. And not having that to do, you end up sometimes feeling like you're so alone in a way that other people can't understand, but yet other people do understand because I am not the only one that's ever gone through this. And I think to myself also the amount of what I've been going through losing this person that was so profound to me. At the same time, you think about it, um, her children lost someone even more so than I did. I mean, I I I can't even explain what that must feel like because I mean, that is something that's got to be so difficult, and here I take it like, "Oh, wow, look what I'm going through." But I try to think about what in the world her kids are going through, her other family members, her sister. It is something that we all go through at some point in our lives. We lose our friends, we lose our family, we lose our parents. Some lose their children, some lose their parents too early. And I'm got the time lapse running as I'm talking, so you can see this sunset. But what we tend to not do is reflect on what our own inner healing needs to be, but that of other people's healing. And sometimes just a friendly person reaching out to you and giving you a warm hug and giving you an embrace. And she somehow innately knew just to continue holding and giving me that embrace that I needed. And we talked after that. We started talking, and they're from the Netherlands, and they came for a friend's wedding, and they rented an RV, and they decided to go travel all over the place. And they heard about coming to Sunset Beach, that it had just some of the most beautiful sunsets. And they were camping there in the campground, and we exchanged information. And look at that sun just disappear. I mean, it's so beautiful watching a sunset just disappear like that. And so being able to meet somebody and being able to sit with them and talk with them and get to know them and hear their story. And so many of us don't even know what someone else might be going through. So we think only of ourselves. And I am guilty of that myself. I think we all are guilty of such things. I don't think any of us are impervious to not thinking about ourselves. We are that way, just human nature. But I'm trying really hard to think of others. So this is Sharon and Nick right here. But I am trying to think of others as I go about this journey that I'm of self-discovery and reflection and forgiveness um, and learning and growing and being able to reflect and show that I learned something from this journey, learned something from this trip, learned something there, Charlotte, learned something about myself that I may not have even realized I had. Be kind to your mind. That is going to be a new thing that I'm going to think about all the time because we all tend to think about others sometimes. Why does it keep doing that? That is so frustrating. I'm so sorry. Let me I guess if I don't hit the arrow right, it's just gonna go off because I just sent these to my husband on Facebook. He loves that I send him all these pictures, even when it's pictures that he's like, "Okay, what's that for?" But, there Charlotte had her dinner. She was such a good girl this entire trip, but the view was so beautiful there. I just love that it just does that. Okay, sorry about that. Um, but it was so beautiful, and look at her pose. She knows how to pose. She knows when the camera's out. But it was such and those pictures, by the way, those pictures I took from my glasses. Those pictures that you're seeing right now of that sunset, that was taken from my Meta glasses, my smart glasses. I did not know how good those pictures would come out. That's a very interesting picture because apparently that's probably a hair that came loose and that was in front of the camera. That's not some crazy thing that went across the sky. That was a hair. But my beautiful dog, she loves to pose. And I'm just in awe of how good these pictures turned out using my Meta glasses. I did not expect such good uh, photography with a pair of smart glasses. Like, that's not what you really expect. But it turned out to be really good, and these pictures turned out really nice and beautiful. There's the final parts of the sunset, and that is it for the sunset. And you can see my phone there propped up, taking it hyper lapse, as you will. But it was just a beautiful moment, a beautiful time, and meeting strangers is always something fun. If you see that there, my hand's in it and my hat's in it. Most of the time I had my hat backwards so that you could or off so that I would take the pictures and not have and that sunset has such a glow over it. It was really pretty. But, yeah, my hat will get in the way, that's for sure. My hands, you have to remember it's taking what you're seeing in front of you. So if your hands are in front of you, it's gonna take pictures of whatever's in front of you. And sometimes those are hard ones to edit. Those were obviously me trying to get Charlotte's attention to, look up at me. But anyway, that's enough of the sunset, and that's the answer to the question is, heck yeah, I meet strangers, I talk to strangers, I make friends with strangers. And I will tell you, when you travel enough, um, you will tend to start opening up a little bit more and maybe reaching out to strangers, especially on solo journeys. It starts to get a little lonely when you're by yourself, so you do kind of need to reach out to strangers. Um, it's you can make a quick chat can turn strangers into friends. But I always have, protection. I always think about where I'm at, public spaces. I can tell when somebody seems a little creepy. If you get the creepy vibe, I kinda just get quick and move away. At, uh, Pismo Beach, there was a guy, not Pismo Beach, Pacifica Beach. There was a guy that had this really cool big driftwood that he had put in the rocks, and he was remounting it using rocks to balance it. Somebody had knocked it over and caused some damage with it, and people were taking pictures of it, and it looks like a pipe, I guess, a big long pipe, and it has Pacifica written on it. He used to have a string with Sharpie on it. He was super nice guy. But shortly thereafter, I was sitting there and this really creepy dude came walking onto the beach, and he just kind of almost lunged at Charlotte trying to reach out to pet her, and she knows. If she has a good sense, she kinda lets him reach out and pet her. Um, especially if they ask and I say, yeah, it's okay. But if I don't, she'll pull away. Well, this guy, she lurched away from like, whoa. So if you do get those creepy vibes, keep your distance. Don't linger for too long, kind of get back on the road and get moving. Um, and if you just stay alert, um, and my husband said yesterday, I said, stay alert. And he said, yeah, everyone needs to stay alert because we need more alerts. And I was like, you're such a guy, a man joke, dad joke. Stay alert, be alert, not alert. But anyway, that was funny yesterday. Thank you, Steve. So 60% of solo travelers camp at least once, according to Adventure Travel. So that is the end of Dear Margaret for tonight. I pull my hair out and I can put Dear Margaret away. Dear Margaret, bye-bye. Take your hats with you. I thought I would change to a smaller hat because I was having such a hard time seeing out of my eyeballs with the big black hat. And plus I wanted some color. So, as I've said, I have grabbed sand from 19 beaches from Tahoe to Santa Monica. Sunset State Beach was pure magic with the sunset, and Pfeiffer Beach has purple sand. If you haven't ever gone to Pfeiffer Beach, and it's spelled just like Michelle Pfeiffer, but it's not the same according to Wikipedia or whatever. But the sand is purple. And it's not really purple. There's a purple top layer of the sand. So if you're collecting the purple part, you really have to be very careful because it will blend into other sand. But it's a bit of a hike. And for somebody with any kind of disabilities, it's a little bit of a hike, and you have to hike through the sand. And it was super windy and super kind of getting really choppy and very, very windy that day. My hat flew off my head. Somebody was kind enough to grab it and bring it back to me. And then my hat flew off my head a second time, and Charlotte went and fetched it for me, and people thought that was adorable. But I doubted that I could do this hike, and I did it. And I was super, super proud of myself. Like I said, at Half Moon Bay and Pismo Beach, those were really hard. Getting down the steps and getting down those areas were really hard. They were very difficult. And then after Pfeiffer Beach, so on Highway 1, Pacific Coast Highway, they had a washout, and it took out the whole section of Highway 1. So that part is closed. So you can only go down to like Pfeiffer, Juliet, Burns Park. I didn't go that far. I just went to Pfeiffer Beach, but I didn't go. It was only a few more miles down the road, and I didn't need to go to 2 Pfeiffer beaches, so I didn't go the rest of the way. I probably could have camped there that night, but it was too early. And so I had to backtrack the mileage on Highway 1 back to Highway 101. So Highway 101 kind of goes parallel, but more inland. So you don't get quite the coastal drive. Tomorrow I will have a video of the coastal drive that I did, because I did that on hyperspeed as well. And I can just have that running while I talk. But it was a difficult hike for me, and Charlotte was with me, but I did it. Like I did the Half Moon Bay and like I did Pismo Beach. I was really proud of myself. Then the next day, after I got up at Sunset Beach, after I got up from there, I was now in Morro Bay. And I decided, oh my God, look how close I am. How far away is it to Monterey Bay Academy, where I went to boarding school 40 years ago? Whoa, what a time warp. So I looked it up and it was 20 minutes away. So I decided I'm backtracking again, and I drove back to, and every time I would talk to my husband on the phone, I'd go, guess where I am? And he's like, back where you started this morning. And I said, pretty much. I said, if I keep this rate up, I'm never leaving California. But it was a time warp, and I went to the front gate and I said, I'm an alumni. I just wanted to drive through the academy and take some pictures and, revisit. And, he takes your information down. What years did you go here? Blah, blah, blah. And I went through Monterey Bay Academy. It's a Seventh-day Adventist boarding school. And I drove through there and I'm like, yep, that was my dorm. They took out the bushes that I used to climb out the window and jump down on. We'd put our comforters over the bush and jump out onto the bushes like a trampoline so that we could get out and sneak out. We did some crazy things at Monterey Bay Academy. You had to have a pass to drive, and you had to have a pass to go in and out. So I can tell you that you can fit at least 4 bodies in a large trunk laying on top of each other to sneak out the gate and go to town. It's 40 years. You can't get after me now. But it was definitely a time warp for me to reminisce. And I took Charlotte and I walked down. It's kind of like our little ravine. And down the cliff, you have to walk because it's on a cliff. Monterey Bay Academy is on the cliff. So you have to walk down to the beach. And Monterey has its own private beach. It's not a very big segment. And of course, all beaches, private or not, run into another beach. But the sand down there is kind of like a smolten gray, blackish sand. So I collected, of course, a thing of sand. I collected up. There was a driftwood that looks like a wand, a Harry Potter wand. And I mean, as soon as my husband saw it when I got back, he goes, "Is that your Harry Potter wand?" So I wasn't wrong when I looked at it and thought that looks like a Harry Potter wand, because that's the first thing he thought of. So it was really neat seeing the grounds. And when I went to school there, we were required to work. There were certain buildings and certain things that had jobs. They built surfboards, skateboards. We had a laundry company. I had to work at the laundry company. I didn't get the job I wanted. There's agriculture, farming. They also had a antique car building company that was they built replicas of roadsters and stuff like that. It's a really cool place, but everyone was required to work, and it helped with your tuition, even if you could afford the tuition. And the whole point was so that all kids were under the same umbrella. We all had to put work in. Well, I asked the gate guy, because everything's not going to always stay the same. I said, well, they probably don't build cars here anymore. I don't know if they build the surfboards anymore. I'm not sure what they do and what are the kids required to do. So I asked him as I was leaving, I said, so what are people required to do now for work? And he said, oh, well, the state got after that quite some time ago, and they can't have any kids working anymore because they were manufacturing and making money from it. And even though that cut off parts of their tuition, child labor laws put an end to that. So they can't have the kids working now like they did back then. Kind of wish that was the case back then, because I didn't want to have to work at a laundry service. Even though we made it kind of fun, we serviced all the hotels, our school, and hospital laundry. But it was definitely a nostalgic drive through there and seeing the different buildings and remembering, oh yeah, and I didn't see the surfboard racks out there like they had when I was a kid, and we could go surfing and hang our surfboards outside the classroom and go into class. We got in trouble a few times for having too much water and too much sand in the classroom, but it happens. So I have to say, somebody asked me the question. A friend of mine sent me, and they asked it, and I know they were asking it to get me to think and to have this as a question for my show. But how did each jar mark growth? And I have to say, what it did is it marked time passing, my growth as overcoming challenges, the things that I have done, where I've been from where I started as a kid all the way till now, and all the way through some of the journeys and triumphs and tribulations that I've gone through. And it really is helping me, because I have really been trying to overcome severe depression. And I think was such a good thing for me to fight my depression, because I was able to overcome challenges that I think that's a big part of my depression, is losing the me I used to be. And I don't want to completely lose the me I used to be. So Pfeiffer Beach purple sand, by the way, is manganese garnet. That is what makes it. I have to say, it was an absolutely beautiful moment going to these reflective places. Having Sharon and Nick from the Netherlands give me a hug, and he reached out and patted my knee, and he reached over and kind of hugged with her. Kind of felt like as the sun was sinking, it was channeling KK's spirit on my journey. People did ask me about the sand. Each chat was a connection. When they would see me going out onto the beach and putting sand into a jar, they would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm collecting sand at 20 beaches across." Well, at the time I didn't know, but I said, "I have 20 jars to fill." I don't know which beaches exactly I'm going to collect from, but it was really neat. And people would ask, and then they're like, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" And I said, "I don't know yet. Some art." And I use sand sometimes when I do 3-dimensional art and on glasses or on a painting. So I kind of already have a collection of different locations of sand. So this is going to add to that. I mark them. I know exactly where. So if I'm making something for someone that's in Florida, like I did, the sand that went on their painting was from Florida. And worrying about my husband and my family with the tornado back home, it still weighed on me. But these moments helped lift it, because they helped remind me that there's nothing I could do. And I have to say that Sharon's hug was an echo of KK's legacy, because she is the type of person that would have absolutely reached out to a stranger standing there looking the way I was looking. The sweatshirt I was wearing had her "Be kind to your mind" on the front, but on the back it has KK, "Rest in love," and her dates and wings. And I'm sure they saw that and they reached out. And that's something definitely KK would have done. By the way, Pismo Beach hosts 25,000 monarchs yearly. Did you know that? I have a monarch tree at my house that they tend to I didn't know they were there, but we determined it last year because we had a whole bunch of monarchs, and then we looked and boom, they were coming out of our tree. The tree that Steve wants to knock down, but now he can't, because I'm like, "It's monarchs. You can't take my monarchs away." Anyway, we're going to continue the rest of this trip tomorrow. We will continue the rest of this trip. I hope you enjoyed this traveling adventure that I did. I hope you don't mind coming along this ride with me and me sharing this with you. Instead of my leaving today with thank you for watching, if you don't mind, I'm going to play the song that I wrote for Kristen again. I just want to play it one more time today. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to play a different version of it. It's the same song lyrics wise, but I have a different sound. I would love to have somebody write in and give their opinion of the song. But as we leave, we're going to listen to this song one more time. Thank you. And don't forget, I will be here again tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you have any questions for me, email me at Tori, Tori, at GurlTauX.com, GurlTauX. If you have an advice, question, or comment towards Dear Margaret, please email them to Dear Marge, DearMarg, at GurlTauX.com, GurlTauX. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you get notified when we are live. And here we go. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
We put you to rest today. Put you to rest in the cold still lake. Odd thing is, the water felt wide awake. We fed the fishes with tears in our eyes. Odd thing is, the truth swims where the heart lies. This was our home, but now we've all gone away. Odd thing is, it'll never feel the same. You were here and then gone one day. Odd thing is, now you're here to stay. I missed you yesterday and the love you gave, and I'll miss you tomorrow beyond these waves. Odd thing is, the lake knows your name from the start of your story to the end of the same. I hope you're looking down through skies so clear at the ones who saw you and loved you, dear. Odd thing is how the world still spins when a soul takes flight and a life ends. The ripples echo from the rocks we threw, though they can't see us, they see you. The odd thing is, you're a part of me, and that is something that will always be. With love in our hearts and tears in our eyes, we released your soul into the lake. Odd thing is, you left an emerald glow as you swam away and followed the flow. The say. Odd thing is, this doesn't feel real. I look back one last time, hoping this was just a dream. Odd thing is, I thought I heard a sound, thought I heard your voice singing in the rain, saying I'm home now. Go heal your pain.